A very good evening to you who is watching UBC TV. My name is Sophia Matovo, and thank you for joining me on U Health Chat. It's always a pleasure to be in your living rooms or at a place of your convenience and be able to share with you matters as far as your holistic health is concerned. Now, albinism is a rare genetic condition that causes lack of, pigment in the skin, hair, and the eyes. It can predispose people to lifelong physical and health problems. Our topic of discussion tonight is health concerns in persons with albinism. On set with me is a special guest, and that is Namwanje Doreen Mayanja, the Executive Director of Women and Children with Albinism in Uganda. A very good evening to you, Doreen.
Yes, good evening, Sophie. Just a simple point of correction. It is Naweje Doreen Mayanja.
Naweje, not Namaweje.
Not Namaweje.
Oh, okay, Naweje. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Now, I would like first to start with, I never take it for granted that everybody seems to know some of these things. What causes albinism? Because I believe you've walked the talk, you live it. So these are some simple things that you might need to be able to share with the person watching the show right now.
Those I have at my fingertips. Yeah, good evening, dear viewers, once again. Doreen Naweje, living with albinism, as you can see. And the cause of albinism is lack in animals, I should say, because this condition even features in plants or living things. But in animals, it's lack of the pigment, melanin in our bodies that cause this condition. That's when we have albinism. The moment we lack that coloring, that the black pigment, the melanin, that's when we have albinism. So even in plants, when they don't have chlorophyll, so they also have albinism. So albinism is a condition that occurs in both plants and animals.
Okay.
Yes.
So is it a condition for a person possibly that they are born straight away with it? Because the difference is for vitiligo, you can acquire it at any age.
Unlike with albinism, you're born with it. You're born a person with albinism. It's a genetic condition. It's hereditary, I should say. Yeah.
Okay, and then possibly you might help parents, certain times there is that bit of denial. So what are the signs and symptoms that should be able to help a parent identify and say, now this is it?
Now this is it, as in...
That this, and they confirm and they accept that my baby is, has got albinism.
Okay. This is something, just as we've said, that you're born with it. It's something you see immediately a baby is born. When you see very pale skin, of course, some babies, when they are newly born, some happen to be light, and then they turn with time. But with albinism, it's very pale. The skin is very pale. The eyes are also pale because the condition affects the eyes as well. And even the hair. The hair is always blonde. It depends on the type of albinism. At times it's blonde, at times it's silver, just like gray hair. But when it hasn't got any color. Yes, you can easily tell that a child has albinism.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you talked about types. Would you like to share a little bit about the types? It might also be able to help a parent out there be able to know.
Well, I may not go into detail.
Yes, not on the surface.
It's a bit
very technical.
Yeah,
yes.
It's a bit technical. Yeah. Whereby I may not properly share it. I may bring about confusion. Yet I do understand it. If maybe, because this is a program watched by, let's just take it that it's albinism, but it has, let me say, types or degrees of albinism. Because some people, it's only the eyes that are affected, without the skin being affected. And some people like me, both the eyes and the skin are affected. They all have that condition. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's surely something I'm learning for the first time.
True.
About the fact that it can affect particular areas and other areas might not be affected.
That's the truth.
Wow, wow, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, What kind of health challenges? I would like to use you since you're here before we speak for the others. I know there are many health concerns given that you lack the melanin, you know, in the skin. What are some other health challenges that you face?
Still, the general cause is the lack of the melanin, because apart from just giving color to the skin, the eyes are also affected. We won't go so much into science, but to bring out the point that we are low vision. Persons with albinism, we have low vision. Just because our retina, where the images are formed, it is supposed to be opaque, but ours happens to be, what can I say? I think pale and translucent. In that, the image is not formed, I think the image is blurred. We happen to be low vision.
You have blurry vision.
Yeah, blurry vision. That's the truth, blurry vision, because there is, I think, enough melanin in our retina where the image is supposed to be formed. And then even you see that because of that, these muscles that hold the pupils in place, they are also weak. They are also weak. That's why our eyes keep on moving like
back
this.
and forth.
Yeah, back and forth. It's all still that one condition that generates one sub-conditions as well, I think I should say. So that's another, basically those are the two. Because like lack of the melanin, as I said, it's the coloring in the skin. It helps you, it protects you from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. In that you're safe, even when like here in the tropics where it's a bit hot, you're safe even if you moved, because even you enjoy sunbathing. Whereby when you say that you are enjoying sunbathing, I may not like it, because the rays just penetrate direct into my skin, and hence we're highly prone to skin cancer. By the way, even it is, I'll not say it's an allegation, it's the truth, because I've also seen it. I've buried several colleagues because of the skin cancer. It's the highest threat to our lives. And after all, it's all about ignorance, because some parents, when they give forth to bring forth children with albinism, they may not necessarily know, because it's a rare condition after all, apart from now when there is some bit of sensitization and information, but you find that they expose the children to the sun. And you know, traditional, especially here in Africa, I should say, it affects a lot, because there is a certain disease, I don't know how we call it in English, but they normally call it camely. When the child is born, and there is jaundice. Jaundice.
Yes,
that's it.
yes.
And then they feel they want to put this baby on the sun.
Out to get the sun.
Out to get the sun. And I think some parents used to expose their children to the sun, thinking that maybe they'll
get some coloring.
They'll get some coloring. Eventually, they're exposing them to, they were threatening their lives actually, and the consequences were always not good. Yes.
Well, that doesn't sound, that sounds rather
it's all
worrying.
about ignorance.
Then,
that's why.
Then how is it, because you talked about the blurry vision, what about the sensitivity of light to the eyes?
Yeah, it's because of all that, because like the function of the, as I said, because you see even it's called the pupil, it's also light. So, and it's the one which controls, I think, the amount of light that enters the eye. So when there is too much light, if the light is so bright, of course, we are affected. Yeah, we are affected.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now then, I believe besides that, besides some of the health challenges, there are lots of myths and misconceptions.
Yeah.
That I know for a fact. I would like to walk your journey.
Yes.
What was it like for you as a child growing up?
Should I call it probably an antidote? This I'm sharing to all parents, their caregivers, and generally, and service providers, not only to persons with albinism, but anybody with a special condition. We should always accept people the way they are. attitude is very, very important. Acceptance. Because like the moment you're accepted, at times you may not even know that you have a strength condition within you, around you. And especially with the children, I want to let you know, colleagues, that children have very innocent minds. They are just polluted by adults around them. Now my journey in the family where I was born, fortunately, I'm not just boasting about it, but lucky that they were all literate. So they knew why I was like this. They were so accepting, they were loving. So I grew up in that like any other child. Apart from knowing that for me, I should put on long-sleeved clothes, I should always put on a hat, I should always wear shades for protection because my parents knew about it, right to my late grandmother. Because I used to stay there with my cousins, as you know, when it's holidays, we all go to the village. So they knew what to do. And then it was very okay. And because we were loved and were given all the good things, and especially in a special way probably, in that I had to be admired at school. Probably some would even wish to turn into persons with albinism. Maybe they could get the privileges I was enjoying, at school. So it wasn't all that bad. And on top of that, my mother was a headmistress. After all, daughter of a headmistress, she knew the condition. She could talk to the teachers. I had to be given, what was necessary, especially like sitting at the front, taking front positions in class so that I could do well. And even, those are some of the challenges, like you could not sit at the blackboard.
If you're seated at the back.
When you're seated at the back and you had to teach the positioning in class. So, and even teachers had to prioritize, this is the headmistress's daughter after all. And I think I always had most of the textbooks. For her, she realized that I needed textbooks so that I could compete with the others. But all this, it's because of the love I had right from home. So even if you could find some challenges, of course, as I've told you, children have very clean minds. But at times it's the parents or even some other adults. When they feel they want to say something, they tell these young children, hey, you're playing, that one is not a Mzungu, she's an albino. Such obligatory kind of like terms like that. Maybe you don't play like with her, you know. Yet some of them could wish, yet they would even ask, maybe the kind of Vaseline she's putting on, that's why she's like that. And for them, you see, they would really admire. I would never forget one time when we were at school, in boarding school. It was VD, and then my decamate happened to get visitors from home, and there was this young sister of hers, and she was just there saying that I want to sleep. Where is her towel? I want to use it so that I become like her. I want to lie on her bed. Such things. That's how innocent children can be, but it's only the adults that do what? Pollute their minds and tell them the negative bit of it. Though, and even some teachers, I remember very well, actually, I'm always saying, I'll not mention the school and name, but he had nicknamed me Chizibwe. You know, because like in Uganda here, I should not touch your kind of like nephew, where we say that you don't touch your nephew, you don't do anything. So he was always calling me Chizibwe, just because he felt he could not touch me. Maybe he was a bit discriminative, but I thank God I overcame that. Yeah.
But now I know it for a fact that the Albinism Association has worked so hard to ensure that they get sunscreens, to be able to protect, and people can move out normally and also lead a normal life.
Indeed.
Why the biggest threat of the skin cancer? Why is it still the one that you mentioned that seems to be on the high, including, of course, the visual impairment, that one you might have no control over. But with the skin cancer, I thought if you have access to the sunscreen, you're safely protected. And if you know it's during the very hot seasons, you know how to wrap up and ensure you're safe.
Yes, it's been a campaign, it has been a song for years. Truly, there are efforts made to see that there are sunscreens available. But to a particular extent, we have various organizations. The Albinism umbrella is there. And even to a particular extent, we're looking at probably having them manufactured here, just like ARVs are. Because like, even us, like people who are HIV positive, they must be with, having ARVs is a must. That's what I also feel like sunscreens should be also what? A must. These are must have with us. But then, there are still some small challenges. You could find that probably the taxes were waived off, but then there is clearance, those ones, and even taking to the UNBS, in case you've imported some, you've gotten, even if it's a donation, it's the fees that have, and you have to know that persons with albinism, these are people who are just coming up because of sensitization, but you find those ones deep in the villages. They are people who are living below the poverty line because of the discriminations and alike, because even at times certain work, we are limited because of the body weaknesses. Cancer is still the threat because just like all other kind of like, okay, like the low vision, the blood images and alike. But then this one is a threat. Reason, yes, when I'm low vision, I can always, substitute it, find a way of how to go about it. But then this one is touching the body. And by the time people realize, because cancer is not something that is contagious, a communicable disease that when I was passing by, I acquired it. No. The moment you expose your skin to these sun rays, it's not something that comes in one day. It's like the rays maybe accumulate, the cancer cells keep forming, just as you know, it is something that is gradual. You may not even think, because at times you may think, the few cases, or not the few cases, the cases I've all seen, people are even affected at the back, where you see that at least they are covered. If it was like the hand and the face, the hands and the face, at times they are not covered. You could be putting on short sleeves. But you find someone is even having lesions at the back, meaning that these cells accumulated and they kind of like penetrated, and then they happen to come out through probably where they felt it was softer. What should I say? Okay, something of that kind. That's the kind of picture I'm trying to draw. So that you get to understand. It's still a threat, because that's why what I've seen people dying of. People are not dying because they are low vision, not because we have kind of like colorless hair, no. But it's because of the pain, the cancer, the scourge that comes about with it. Yeah, true. That's why I'm saying still the what, because we have to work under the sun. We have to work whatever kind of job. You have to walk through the what? The sun. Yes. So it's still the threat. Much as, and even when these creams come, they're very expensive. If you've not got them free, if it's not a donation, they're damn expensive. And when you see these, they're not, you can't go to, let me say, a government where we expect free things. They're not in health centers, like Health Center 4s or Health Center 2s. They are not there. Some people have not even heard about them. Yes, sensitization has been done. We are still doing it. Much as true, we've not reached, not to say that we are not appreciative. Indeed, we are. We are very much appreciative. We are getting all this airtime. We are talking about this condition. But there is still that thing. If only they could be manufactured here, and so that they can be accessed by everyone, even those in deep rural, just at the grassroots. That would be okay.
You said that. I'll throw a question at you later. I hope I'll still, not at this time.
Yeah.
But at first now, when we get to some of this, what are some of the risk factors, you know, the risk factors of albinism? You know, at least I know that children who have parents to albinism, is it a likelihood that if it's husband and wife are both having albinism, then they will also have children with albinism? I'd like you to help educate us in that area.
Probably some bit of genetic side in biology, in O level. We used to draw kind of like matching, and then like you could cross. If this is A, B, and this is AA, when you cross, it's most likely that the A from here and the A from here, the offsprings would have albinism. But there is something that really happened. We happened to get some of our colleagues, and they happened to pair up. Rest in peace, Sarah, but she was Vicent's wife. Vicent also has albinism. He's still living. So I just got to know about this at Sarah's funeral, when Vicent said that the reason he decided to marry Sarah, he wanted to make his own clan, probably a family, because of what he went through during his childhood.
The stigma.
Yeah, the stigma that, like, even discriminated by his very own family, brothers and relatives, such a thing. So he said, now let's make our own clan. They were expecting to bring forth children with albinism. They had 3 children, but none of them had albinism, except the third born. They had 3 children. Now they have 2. David Grace and Evelyn passed on shortly after Sarah just. She got those complications actually after bringing forth Evelyn. So when she died, I think she died when the baby was only 2 weeks. So it couldn't survive, maybe. But I believe, much as they may not say it, but I think even the doctors or the health sector is still, because that's how we used to know it. Not necessarily, I don't know how it happens. Yet even you see some parents, some couples, they bring forth children with albinism, and then each one denies that I've not seen this condition in our family. But the truth is, the genes are there, but they are recessive. So you could find that, well, luckily enough for me, my daddy's side, my great-grandmother had albinism. Actually, I think that's why even I acquired the name Naweje.
Naweje,
yeah. Naweje. She had albinism. So when I was, they gave birth to me, it wasn't something new. Even I have a cousin, Namsis Pelanta. She also has albinism. Yeah, at least they knew, because they had seen that generation. They knew. My parents knew. They had a grandmother who had albinism. Yes. But the truth is, we normally, we studied about dominant and recessive genes. So I think when a recessive and a recessive meet, it becomes dominant, then the offspring has albinism, I believe. Yeah.
Now, under the umbrella association or the organization that you have, how many of the people do you have with you living with albinism? Because I know you don't discriminate. It's not specifically only those with albinism. I know you also have families who've been affected due to the fact that they have children with albinism.
Well, when you talk, the way you phrase it, now I'll answer in that we are not discriminative. As in, because I happen to lead women and children with albinism. We are featuring mothers of children with albinism, the mothers of the children as well. We are also featuring husbands of women. You could find a woman may have, as they refer to it as normal, but when the husband has albinism, we also look at it. So you are asking about the statistics or what?
No, about how many roughly estimate of those you have the statistics under your supervision as an executive director.
Under my supervision, we have the direct and the indirect, as you said. So under my supervision, we are 280.
In Kampala? Or you cut across?
We cut across, because it's women and children with albinism in Uganda. We have those from the north, from the west, from the east, central, even from the islands. Yeah.
So what do you use? What does the organization do provide psychosocial support, or what exactly do you do?
Yeah, now there we get to the background as to why women and children with albinism. Yeah, because I'd belong to, yes, there are other organizations. It's not only women and children with albinism, which we normally abbreviate as WACHWAO, the others. But then for us, what we looked at is the reason. One time we made an outreach in Kayunga district, and we happened to find a colleague. This lady, she was one of us. She had 7 children, but each with a father. And she was not in good condition. One would really wonder, why? You are not even able to buy yourself, what can I say?
A kilo
the
of sugar?
cheapest thing.
Okay.
Sugar.
Soap?
The condition in
Or
which,
salt?
yeah, let me say salt or soap. Because you can do without sugar, but somehow one can't do without soap or salt, for that matter. And you ask her that, but again, you have all these children, and then you are in this situation. Why? Then she would tell you, she told us that, you know what? The first time you think it's love, you go in with someone thinking that it's marriage, yet because of the myths that surround our condition, then that one leaves you with pregnancy. He goes, for him, it is a deal, because he had his hidden
the
avenger.
lady was
Yeah, she was like, she had albinism, and she had 7 children, all normal. But the condition in which she was not kind of like, you would wonder what was compelling her to have all those children. Then she would tell us that probably the first time,
it was a mistake.
It was, she was blindfolded. Yeah, she was blindfolded, and she thought this was a relationship. She was getting married. She was with someone who loved her, yet the other one had his own agenda hidden. Then when the second one comes in, because you are desperate, you have no choice, you think, this is the very example, I always quote her statement, that if the first one gave you 2,000, then this one is offering 3,000. Yeah, that's the truth. And then he also lives with a pregnancy.
Yeah.
Then another one comes that he promises that I'll even be able to buy you a bowl of soap. I'll even look after you with your children.
Yes.
Then he also goes until, I don't know whether she still has 7 or even she added on. Then we realized all this happened because she lacked something. She was doing this for survival. Then with colleagues, that is Diana Bakwita, who is our project manager. Because for us, our objectives, we had several of them, but we emphasized economic empowerment, because when we thought that if we are economically empowered, all these others, the objectives of the organization, we can achieve individually, you get. So we wanted to eliminate that kind of like condition, not to spread to the rest. After seeing, we used it as it was a random sample. Probably we randomly sampled, and we found out that there could be so many others going through the same situation, like this other colleague of ours. So we said, now let's do women and children with albinism, because we had looked and we saw that as compared to our male counterparts, we are more vulnerable. We're already vulnerable as women, then we have albinism, you get, we are single mothers. So that's when we looked at economic empowerment, to see that we eliminate that cause of them having very many children, different fathers, yet we are still in bad conditions. So we sat down, Faith, Diana, and we formed Women and Children with Albinism, but the major objective is economic empowerment for self-reliance. Yeah.
So what are some of the things you can say you've been able to achieve as an organization from the time you founded it up to now?
Wow.
Where you look at it and you're like, now, I believe we have hit our core in terms of objective as an association or as an organization.
Well, let me bring it this way. We are discussing about health. To be healthy, you have to be economically stable. Because that, we're looking at economic empowerment, but then what could we do? Because we find that few of us, by the way, our motto is that we are changing the image. People have the way their perspective, the way they perceive our condition, how they take us, like society rejects. Even the receiving side, we said no. We have first of all to deal with ourselves, changing the mindset. What others can do, probably we can even do better, given chance, and even changing our mindsets, you get? So, a few of us now, because we are changing the image, not only with women and children with albinism, but we are looking at it as a whole fraternity of albinism, the community, albinism community. We are changing the image because right now, because of sensitization, probably even parents are accepting, maybe because of the impact done by fellow activists in albinism. There are several of them, like the albinism umbrella is there. Madame Olive is doing great work. There is Snooper Ojik is doing great work. Hassani Mlondo. I refer to ourselves as we are the generals, yeah? We are the guinea pigs. We started this. So, you find that there is change. We are changing the image. People are accepting it. So they, in case they're taken to school, they have some sense. They can do this, they can do that. Now, back to the point. What have we achieved a lot as women and children with albinism? Because we're looking at economic empowerment. We started with what we had, each of us. Because like when we started with nothing except with ourselves, because life is wealth. We're there, we're in existence, so we had hope. We felt we could do something. I was working with Nkumba University, then I was working with the Electoral Commission, and Faith was working with Pearl Institute. It was a School of Beauty. So we're getting some money, and we decided to toil for the rest. We said, let's make a pool, and we'll be saving. We opened up an account, and we started saving some money. And the little we had much, by the way. We had our clothes, and we could give those ones out. If you have hats, you have 3 hats you could give out. Because like, others would find us and they say, you sympathize. And of course, when someone sees you and she has a problem, she'll say, hey, madam, or even parents, hey, how do you manage? I also have maybe a colleague. By the way, when I was at Nkumba University, very many students used to reach out to me. They could say, that, madam, but for you here, especially those ones I used to lecture to, but for us, we have a colleague. I've seen one in our village, but they don't go to school, they don't do what. Then you would start with those ones. They would be the ambassadors. You give them some creams that you take to her, like that. So at times, now those who are in school, we started sharing our numbers, by the way, at times in newspapers or anything. Then you could hear them calling, auntie or sister. You've not met, but because they have seen you, they have heard about you probably. And then she says that, I have a leavers party, and then I would need a dress. And then you just put yourself in her shoes. She has albinism, and if she does not look smart, sincerely, things won't be good. Then we could, as colleagues, there is one where in school, she's an ex-Fovakist. Let's make her kind of like, stand out at the party. Then one would buy a dress, another one would buy shoes, put them on bus, they go wherever, We had to make sure that we stand in changing the image so that they're not discriminated, they're not isolated. So that's how we started. But now, as I speak now, I thought of, because we're dealing with our colleagues who have not been in school, some have been abused, they have gone through a lot, torture, sexual abused, in whichever way. So we're looking at skills, hands-on. And because of the so many myths, if you want to get the truth always, or you want to get something, always be true. Accept the condition, don't beat around the bush, don't pretend, don't keep up appearances. The truth is, some people would say that maybe when they peel, probably the skins can even go in the food and the like. So we looked at something which, if people used it, they wouldn't mind whether it is being done by a person with albinism or not. So we looked at soap. We said, you know what? We can do soap. We had seen soap. Myself had been at my church. We do various activities. So when I looked at soap, I said, no, this one we both do in my people. So we started with doing soap with what we had. No money ourselves, because I remember the very first mode we used, we just went to a nearby shop at Makerere Pearl Institute where one of our colleagues, Faith, used to work. We went down the shop, we asked for boxes, we came, we cut it. One of us, she was Rita, she was doing technical drawing. She's the one who made the frames, and then we did our first soap. Of course, we posted, we utilized our phones wisely. We posted on Facebook, we are doing soap, but we had used card boxes, polythene, and even cutting with just a knife. We got a ruler, we drew lines, and then we cut. But because we are doing something, always tell people that be doing something. Someone picked interest. She had a colleague here and said, I saw women like this. They were doing soap. Please, can you bring me soap for 200,000 back there? He came and bought our soap and we were very happy. And that's how we started. We started doing liquid soap. And then from there, someone got interested and said, these women, if they're given the right formulas and the like, something good can come out of them. So someone did a crowdfunding for whatever they called, crowdfunding for us. Crowdfunding. And then contacted me and said, if you can get some of your colleagues. Then we said, no, let's get representatives from each region so that we learn the soap, and when they go back, they also teach their other colleagues. So the crowdfunding was successful. The first time we gathered 30 women, not in a hotel, not anywhere, because like when they looked at the budget, maybe if we were to be in a hotel for 2 good weeks, we could only be able to fund 4 people. But one of our colleagues, Faith, she said, but you know what? My mom has a very big house. She's staying there alone. She's a widow. I have a feeling we could use that house and save this money so that we cook for ourselves, we buy our own food, what we would spend in the hotel, so that we can empower several of more than probably 4 of us or 5. That's what we did. And then when we're mobilizing, we said we want those people who will benefit, who really feel this is going to help them. Because the problem normally we have, when we hear there is something, we don't grade ourselves. Because, yeah, there could be something being given out, or services or skills being taught. But if you feel that you have something more than what is being offered, leave that out and give space to someone who really needs the skill. So we're looking for those very ones, deep rural, those who had to accept to come, because we're sleeping on the floor. We didn't have mattresses, but we're sleeping in someone's sitting room on the carpet. Those ones who would see that sleeping on this carpet is something great. I've been at Kampala. Those are the kind of people we started with. And as I'm speaking now, so we decided to separate the social from the economic. So women and children with albinism is more of social. Going to court, attending funerals and whatnot. Everybody, the moment you have albinism, you qualify. You come, we register you. When we have sunscreens, we give you, of course, many things we can give out. Like some people, they can bring clothes, then we donate. Someone can give us money, then we sew the hats, protective, things in our line. Maybe to do reusable sanitary pads, and then they will give out to those in the villages. But then we have Mama Mzungu. Mama Mzungu, because some people normally ask, why that name? Why Mama Mzungu? Why Mama Mzungu? The reason is, some people refer to us as Mzungu. And when we're doing the other initial training, most women who came, they have children. You could hear Mama Yahaya, Mama Fiona, Mama Gifty, Mama Filippo, Mama Vision. So we decided, someone advised that our mentor, our trainer who came to train us with us, so she said, you know what? You are all mamas. And I would prefer Mzungu to albino or namagoye. So let's get that name and make it our brand.
So the soap is called Mama Mzungu.
It's called Mama Mzungu natural soap. And this natural soap, not basically that everybody is just there, because it's a bit technical. We have to weigh the oils. We have to look at the scale. There are some calculations. But at least there are certain things where everybody can participate. Our natural soaps, we have 5 varieties of it. Some we use turmeric. The women in the village can grow the turmeric, they dry it, they bring it, they pound it. We use peppermint, real. The women in the village can grow the peppermint, they bring it, we dry it, we put it. Those are the ones that use exfoliants. You get orange peels. The women can grate the orange peels, they dry them, they pound, then we put into the soap. So where I can say that we are now global, as it's such an achievement. That's not how we started, because now like we have molds, we are looking at scaling up. Probably we can even distill our own oils, because we buy the essential oils. Yeah, the essential oils we put in the soap. By the way, we use just natural oils as the base oils. We use coconut, we use shea butter, we use castor. Those are the base oils. Then the varieties, the essential oils, those are the different, and the exfoliants, whereby we put the turmeric, then that is lemon, lavender, tea tree, and then the turmeric. The peppermint we put in some oats. So whereby everybody is, and we mind so much about environment protection. We don't like degrading. So our packaging, some people may wonder, why do they use that paper? We want something that is that can decompose, biodegradable. So we use craft paper, and then we tie on a fiber. That is giving someone employment. A woman in the village will go to a plantation, cut fibers, put them in a sack, put them on a taxi, and come. Then she'll get some money from that. So that's how the chain goes. The technical ones who can read the scale and do everything will be here. But then even those ones, it is our thing. Everyone has to be involved. And if we have very high productions, you find that we are all there. And then even the children are there, they are catered for. So it is an achievement, because right now we are supplying over 20 ecologies, because ours is natural. So we supply ecologies. They're the ones interested in our soaps. We have 2 stockists, those who stock our soaps. So health-wise, as I told you, one thing leads to another. You have to, if you are to be healthy, you have to be economically empowered. In case there is no sunscreen, our women, especially those ones in the social enterprise, on the payroll, they can at least now take their children to school. They can also style up. They have choice. You won't just come with a second-hand hair weave on, unless when it's her choice. She'll tell you that, no, I like the other one. You tell her that it's 60,000. She'll wait for the end of month, and then she'll go and buy it.
So my final question to you, in just about like 3-4 minutes that you should be able to respond to. With all this, among some of the soaps that you people are making, can they also, assuming when you use them, the lather, does the lather, given the different natural bits you're talking about, I'm just imagining the turmeric, would it be irritable, would it be what? I'm just imagining, I'm thinking crazy tea tree and all that. Have you thought of developing a sunscreen? Because if importing them comes with a cost, the donations come with a cost. Have you thought of creating your own sunscreens?
Well, because first of all, you have to know what are the ingredients in the what?
In the sunscreens.
The major one, when kind of like I do the study, there is, I think, lead or laid, whatever, whichever way it's pronounced. And then some of the things we're using, the exfoliants and the additives in the soap, those are natural, We very well know that we have lavender. Lavender is very good at healing wounds. The same as turmeric. It's also very good at, it's like a natural antibiotic. Lavender is like probably the black, this Biden's pilosa, sele. which we know locally use in whatever treating wounds. So these ones, they kind of like protect, because our skins have to be kept kind of like wounds free, because when the cancer comes, it can start from there. At least this soap can heal the scratches and the wounds, whereby it reduces the risks of getting cancer, you get. But probably we're in the making, because one thing I would like to share with you, we have our colleagues, those you find that they're kind of, I hope I'm not being rude when I say that they have the color like our colleagues from the Arab Emirates. They're like Arabs. They tell us those ones, normally they tell us that at birth, they're dipped in what? In this local blue tone. And you find that they're not so much affected by the what? So we are getting a study, we are trying to see what element is that. And probably we can get an extract
from that.
And then we include it into what? Into our soaps. That's the truth. Because if we've done research and study using these base oils like the shea butter, like the castor oil, there is a glow. By the way, it's not a matter of boasting, but the people who tell us that, even some who come, because normally they come, even now as I was here on the way, they called me that some colleagues had come. They're not called, I think they'd been directed. A mother and a son, they had come for sunscreens. But all of them who come around, they tell us, but then the children here are a bit different. They're not like, because now, like, that's it. And another thing I would also like to share with people, sunscreen is not a treatment for, because some people call you, that's it. Much as we're affected by the sun, we can also get measles, we can get chickenpox, smallpox, and the like. I'm telling parents, take your children for immunization against all these other diseases. Someone calls you that, you know what, my child has malaria. Is there a special treatment for your malaria? We don't have special malaria. The same mosquito that spreads, it's the same malaria. The way it gets into Sophie's blood is the way it will get into my blood. So you go for malaria treatment. You go for vaccination, go for immunization, whatever, any other thing. The only thing that is special is the sun, the ultraviolet rays, and they are the only ones treated by what? By a sunscreen. Don't get stung by a bee and you run for a sunscreen because you're a person with albinism. No. Get these other, whatever is applicable. I'm not here to advertise, to say that use this cream and the other ones. But you go to a drug shop and tell them that I've been stung by a bee, but don't go and put a sunscreen. It is purposely for protecting us from the UVB, ultraviolet rays and whatever.
Okay.
Yes.
I believe you have really put it out very clear and well to them. I don't think I need to ad-lib and add more to what Doreen has said because we've run out of time. But Doreen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for that wonderful research, because you've become researchers. By the time you have been able to do a product, the soap, and it's already out in our eco lodges, and you're planning, I believe, to do massive production.
Indeed.
I believe you're not resting. Soon, we would like to join you as we hear the success story. I believe one day you'll come up with the sunscreen or probably something better for the young Ugandans out there.
Yeah, I'm assuring you something is cooking as regards the what?
The sunscreen
production. Yeah, we are not sleeping, as you said. Thank you so much, Sophie, for this precious time. I'm overwhelmed. I'm grateful. I don't know how to express it.
You're most welcome.
Yeah,
thank you so much. The person has been watching You Health Chat up to the last minute. It's 5 minutes to the top of the hour. And Lauren Kazimoto Masika will be coming your way at exactly 10 p.m. with the news. Good night from me and from Doreen. And thank you so much to the technical crew and everybody that has made the show possible.
Wow.
Fred!
Osmosis.
Freddy! Fred Dollar, my boss, CEO Inojo, the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the Nile.
I don't have money today.
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
Eno bwe nnumanga nywako